Says celebrating your perfect holiday with a sweet treat. And let's be real, finding that go-to gift or special indulgence for yourself can be overwhelming. Between generic options and mass-produced candy, it just doesn't hit the same. It's easy to settle for less when all you want is something truly special. That's where Mally's Chocolates comes in. Our guys loved them. You'll love them, too. They've been Cleveland's favorite chocolatier since 1935, and they're celebrating 90 years of making Northeast Ohio's sweetest moments. Their selection is incredible, from those chocolate-covered pretzels to Buckeyes to Billy Bob's, Mallios, you name it. They got it, and you can shop online or have it delivered right to your door. Celebrate 90 years of Cleveland's sweetest traditions with Mally's Chocolates. Visit one of their 18 Northeast Ohio locations or shop online at Malleys.com. That's MALLEYS.com. Taste the tradition. Taste Mally's. Guys, we all saw what Joe Flacco did against the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. And we could discuss how he played, but I want to ask you guys this question, and the ball is yours. You can take it whichever direction you want. Seeing how Joe Flacco played against the Steelers, 3 touchdowns, 342 yards, could have been 4 touchdowns if T. Higgins didn't slide at the very end. Is that a bigger indictment on Stefanski or Andrew Berry that Joe Flacco did what he did last night?
It's one of the best questions you've ever asked in the history of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It really is. Because I think it boils it down to X's and O's versus Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay. What do you think?
And I've done a lot of homework. This is one of my favorite topics because I'm fascinated by this concept.
Let's cook.
I'm going to start with my answer, which I know is counterintuitive. You usually want to build to the answer. I'm going to start with my answer. This, more than anything I have seen, displays what we already knew. There was a serious dereliction of duty in the general manager's position with the Cleveland Browns. Andrew Berry, this falls squarely on Andrew Berry's shoulders, and here's why. If Andrew Berry is buying the groceries, it's up to Kevin Stefanski to make the meal. You're only as good as your ingredients. That's what the meal's going to taste like. If you use high-end steak, it's going to be delicious. If you use cheap skirt steak, good luck. We're using skirt steak. We found that, and we already knew this, the wide receivers with the Bengals are filet. They're high premium grade filet. Joe Flacco, I pulled his numbers for this season.
I would say ribeye, Jay. I'll take a ribeye over filet any day of the week, but okay.
I guess that's a personal preference.
That is a personal preference.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm filet guy.
I'm filet, but I'm not going to turn down a great ribeye.
G and I are fat, so we really can trump you on this.
Recovering fat.
I'm going to read these as fast as I can. I didn't get these numbers till this morning, so I would have sent them so a graphic could be made. I'm just going to read his stat lines quickly. Cincinnati, opening game of the year. 31 of 49, 290 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. You remember the 2 picks were kind of like us going, here you go, take it. But that's what it was. That was his best line, by the way, with the Browns. Versus Baltimore, 25 of 45, 199, a pick, a tutty. Versus Green Bay, 21 of 36, 142, no touchdowns, a pick. Versus Detroit, worst game of the year, 16 of 34, 184, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Aggregate, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions with the offensive line and the wide receivers of the Cleveland Browns. I did something that I don't even know if I like this, guys, and you can weigh in on it. I'm trying to use AI as much as I can because I'm trying to work smarter, not harder, as I get older. I have had incredible results with it, especially upstairs in my Channel 3 role. But I used it. I asked AI, and this is an advanced paywall AI that did this. I asked them to give me the aggregate rankings of the Browns and the Bengals offensive lines. And this is what they came up with. They give, and I'm surprised by this, but I asked AI the question, I have to use the answer. They have the Browns offensive line as 24th in the NFL. I don't know, again, they give you a long, detailed printout and description as to the sources they used and why they used them. They ranked the Browns offensive line in 2025 24th, compared to the Bengals, which is 31st. Then I asked them to rank the receivers. They've got Cleveland's wide receiving group ranked 26th in the NFL. I think that's high. Now, again, I don't watch all 32 teams, but at some point in this season, I have seen all 32 teams. To me, that feels high. They have the Bengals wide receiving group ranked as 4th. I had said when Flacco got traded, I'm fascinated to see what happens because, to me, the offensive line becomes the control in the experiment. Or, excuse me, the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Because I think, for the most part, I think everyone here would agree, both offensive lines are bad.
Jay, can I give you one stat on the offensive line?
You can, yes.
This is not AI. This is from Ben Baldwin, who puts the composites of everything. It takes PFF, SIS, ESPN, all those into one.
Perfect.
This is just pass blocking. The Bengals are ranked 31st this year through 6 weeks before last night.
Yeah.
The Browns are 32nd. So we're talking
that's interesting to me.
So it evens out, basically.
It sort of does. I mean, Cleveland's offensive line was ranked 24th. I don't know how. Again, it's chat.
The Browns' run blocking is ranked better than their pass blocking.
Maybe, and that's maybe what they took into account. So I do like the distinction of pass blocking.
So they're both lines is trash.
They're both the worst in the league.
To give you context on that, the Broncos had the number 1 graded in the composites with the score of 98 out of 100. The Browns are a 13. The Bengals are a 14.
Oh, my God, out of 100.
Out of 100, it's a 1 through 100 score.
Oh, my God. That shows you the disparity between great and awful. It should never be, by the way, it should never be that big in any stat. The wide receivers, I don't know if you've got a comparable number. They had Cleveland again, 26th. I thought that was a bit high. They have Cincinnati at 4th. I did look at a lot of preseason rankings. A lot of preseason rankings on the wide receivers for the Bengals had them 1st or 2nd. And that's, again, a subjective. I think the in-season rankings, there's more science to it because you have 6 games of numbers to use.
It doesn't matter anyway. Whether they're 1st or 5th, they're really good.
They're really good. The Browns are really bad. So, again, the control in this experiment was the wide receivers. Now I'm going to read you the 2 line scores for Flacco with the good wide receivers and the bad offensive line. Versus Green Bay, 29 of 45, which is almost identical to the first line he had of the season. 29 of 45, 219, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He threw for 75 more yards against the Packers, and that's the beauty of this. He's played one of the teams twice.
Yeah.
He threw for 75 more yards, had 8 more completions, 2 more touchdowns, and 1 fewer interception.
And that's really
against Green Bay.
And he did almost all those numbers in the second half.
Almost everything.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen if it didn't take him a half to get jump-started, which it clearly did. Against Pittsburgh, 31 of 47, 342, 3-0. It should be 4-0. It could have been 4-0. His aggregate touchdown to interception ratio, again, it was 2 and 6 for the Browns. It is 5-0 with the Bengals. This shows me more than anything. This isn't an endorsement of Kevin Stefanski's offense because I still think there are issues there. I think there are issues with Zach Taylor's offense, to be perfectly frank. It showed a little more creativity yesterday. We learned on the postgame show that naked boot with Flacco was his decision. I thought that was a Zach Taylor call.
Right.
I was giving Zach call. I'm like, what a brilliant call. Well, that was Joe.
Yeah.
See how it works when you're allowed to do certain things?
Yeah, let him go. And he even said, and he also talked about the double bracket when they decided late in the game, and they were ready for this, and I give Zach Taylor credit for this. He said they knew that at some point in the game they were going to double bracket Higgins and Chase. And he said, I broke the huddle, I turned around, I saw the brackets, and I saw I had 1 deep safety, and he said he was basically salivating over this. No. And what does he do? He makes the perfect post-route throw, which couldn't have been any better if he walked it down there. All of this, to me, adds up to this. I don't think Kevin Stefanski is the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the offensive line and the wide receivers he was given to make his meal. They are terrible. We are regurgitating on this meal week after week. And for me, and I've always been this guy, but even more so now, it is the Jimmies and the Joes. And you heard Joe talk about his wide receivers in the post-game comments. And if you weren't sure if it was the Jimmies and Joes, go back and watch it. He literally was laughing when he was asked, what's it like to throw to these guys? He said, I watched I was talking to my dad and my brothers about the game, and we were literally laughing at some of the balls they plucked out of the air and caught. Now, he's coming off of a receiving group that was dropping balls that were hitting them in the hands. Mm-hmm. So the juxtaposition between the two is dynamic. But for me, this is bad news for Andrew Berry, guys. This is not good news for Andrew Berry. I don't see how he comes back for 2026. I don't.
G, how about you? I think you're going the opposite way.
He is.
Man, this is the easiest question you'd ever asked in your life. Let's be honest with yourself. Shout out to Deshaun Watson because I'm now questioning, was he trash?
Yes.
And that's a fair question.
I answered it for you.
That's a fair
question because Joe Flacco looked trash in this same offense.
They changed the offense for Deshaun. They gave Deshaun the offense he wanted. He was still trash.
So
that's true.
Let's get to the fact that so in that case, you had Joe Flacco once, right? Mm-hmm. They could have changed that back again when he was balling the first time, remember? So now, in 10 days, this is the problem. 10 days, this man goes out here, 10 whole days. We've been told often and early that we got to have a full training camp. We need these reps. We need this. We need another quarterback. We need receivers. We need linemen. We need everything. We need more groceries. We need more coats. We need more hats. We need everything. This man came to the Cincinnati Bengals in 10 days, threw for 342 yards against a team you looked like you couldn't even, you were scared to play. By the way, with this offensive line, we want to talk offensive line. The Bengals offensive line is just as bad as the Cleveland Browns offensive line. However, TJ Watt nullified. Highsmith nullified. You know how? Because you know what? Maybe you got somebody that's scheming it up. All the Zach Taylor the slander and how we comparing the two, Zach Taylor is obviously a better coordinator than Kevin Stefanski.
How did he look with the different quarterback?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jay. With that same quarterback, he understood this ain't gonna get it done. Let me get him out of here.
Well, I give him points for that. But he had a trash quarterback and he didn't coach him up.
We just said Flacco was trash.
So here's a question for you, G. And try to give me the most honest answer you can. I think you guys should all answer this too.
No, I'm going to go after you say this question.
All we changed was Zach Taylor. What's our record? Zach Taylor's coaching this team and not Kevin Stefanski. What's the record?
Here's the thing. We're not going to get sidetracked. We're going to get sidetracked.
I see. That's sidetracked. No, that proves my point.
No, don't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my point and speak and get my money off like you got your money off.
Get it off.
Okay,
now,
that's very good.
So here's how we're going to do it. The referendum is on Kevin Stefanski and what he's done. If you ask any person out there, why is Kevin Stefanski still on the staff and why is he the coach? They can't point to one thing. They can't say his offense is great. They can't say he scores points. They can't say he's developed a quarterback. They can't say he puts the people in a position to make the best plays. They can't say that the players that leave here automatically go other places that in a week do God's work. Odell Beckham Jr., same thing. Stefanski trades him, jettisons him in a week. He goes to the Rams and scores more touchdowns in 1 4-5 game period than he did in 2 years with the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield, which is well documented where Baker is throwing the ball and doing. We go and say, okay, Baker, he has some growing up to do. But this smacks you right in the face because this is 10 whole days. Not 9 months, not 2 years, 10 whole days. And not just me saying, don't pay attention to what I'm saying. Go look at Bruce Arians, who runs offense. He said, I don't know why this guy still has a job. Go look at Chase Daniel says, I looked at this offense against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What the heck are they running? You got people like Jay Burns who's breaking down film saying, well, listen, Kevin's running an offense that says this is what we do and not putting it and tailoring it to what the guys do best. If you only want to look, just go ahead and look at this. Just look right what they gave you yesterday. And the embarrassing part about it is, I think at this point, we rather have Kevin Stefanski and lose than go a different direction and be successful. We got the Bengals fans chanting at you, thank you. We done already had to deal with the Sam White. You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati, and we still getting laughed at.
They weren't thanking Stefanski, they were thanking Andrew Barry.
Same difference. And Kevin Stefanski, same difference. I don't like neither one of them. They could both get up out of here. At the end of the day, let me just tell you this. I am tired of sitting here and we got definites when it comes to players. When Odell Beckham was here, it was definite he was trash, get him out. The level of vitriol, he ain't no good. When Deshaun Watson was here, he's terrible, he's trash, he's garbage, he's crap. Even when the offense is playing terribly, we still find a way to take shots at Myles Garrett's leadership every single week. I'm going to ask y'all, at what point do you have that same level of energy for a coach not producing? I need to see the same level of writing and vitriol. We got articles about every player that ain't done nothing here. They won't say Kevin Stefanski's name strongly.
I think everybody on this panel said he should be fired.
Listen,
right? I think he should be fired.
Jay said he won't argue.
I need the strength to be in it because at the end of the day, people will say, oh, well, this is about Shedeur Sanders. No, it ain't. I don't care nothing about that. I've been saying this about Kevin Stefanski for 3 years before Shedeur Sanders was even here. He might have been in high school when I was telling you about this. And by the way, when are we going to believe him or we're not going to believe him? Kevin Stefanski from day one has always said, we are in lockstep. We pick the players together. We have a decision. This is a collaboration. Everything's lined up. It's all analytics. So now, when he don't perform, we get to separate and take him out and say it wasn't his fault. It's time out for the excuses. All of the scapegoats are gone, bull. It's done. Baker, Flacco, DTR, everybody. It's gone. At some point in time, you got to come to the conclusion, maybe your coach is not that good. And the proof is in his numbers, the proof is in the film work, and the proof is in his 4-20-something record. Shout out to the Bengals because it looks like you guys, and I never thought I would say it, it looks like you guys actually want to win. And that's a shame because Mike Brown and his family ain't really had that track record. But I'm stuck in Cleveland talking about domes in 2029, and this is the type of stuff that I have to watch. Go ahead, Bull.
I want to hear Jason first. Thank you, though.
Oh, go ahead.
You want me to go? Okay, so my answer is going to sound like a cop-out because I'm blaming both, 50-50.
That is the fair answer,
That's the answer.
Yeah.
They are both to blame.
Yes,
and I'm
is the
done
fair
with
answer.
both of them.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start with Andrew Berry because G obviously spent a lot of time talking with Kevin Stefanski, but I will get to him too. Clearly, the Browns' talent offense is an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke.
Inexcusable.
It's worse than I thought it was. Jerry Jeudy's been a total disaster. Zach Jackson this morning with me called him the most embarrassing player in the NFL, and I can't argue with that. You look at the Browns' three positions: quarterback, wide receiver, and offensive line. Between those three spots, you have, 17, 18 players on the roster in those three positions?
You throwing tight ends in there too? Or
No,
just
not
wide
including,
receivers?
not
Okay.
tight ends.
Okay.
Just those three position groups. Roughly 17, 18 players.
Yeah.
Okay, that's close to 40% of your roster in those three positions. I don't know if there's a single good player in that group for next year. I'm not there. Obviously, we haven't seen Shedeur yet. We haven't seen enough Dillon Gabriel yet, but I'm not sure in those three groups there's one player I want on this roster. That's 37% of the roster.
That's a good point.
That's insane.
What team would poach any of those guys from us?
Maybe Judy in the right spot. Certainly,
Not now.
Certainly, there's I'm sure there's other
Now
teams
that
out there that
contract.
see some potential of a couple of. There's maybe 2-3 guys that you could even consider. Period. Yeah. Your entire offense, you have zero. You have no offensive line for next year. None. You don't have one starter. You don't have one short thing starter at wide receiver, and you don't have one thing short thing starter at quarterback. You don't even know if you have a short thing backup at quarterback. Right now you don't even know. So that's a disaster. So Andrew Berry, seeing Joe Flacco play with those. Now, the Bengals line, I think, right now, overall for the season, the lines are equal. I think the Bengals' O-line has been getting better a little as the season has gone along.
Best. Yeah, you would know best.
And the Bengals are, right now, much better at tackle than the Browns are. The Bengals have solid tackles. Solid. Not great. Solid. The Browns' tackle situation is a disaster. In the middle, the Browns, it's probably close. Maybe the Browns are a little better. But at least for that blind side block,
yeah,
the Bengals left tackle's solid NFL player. Nothing special, but he's solid. So, but still, the major difference obviously is at the wide receiver, and you've seen it with Flacco. However, the reason Stefanski doesn't get a pass in this situation is because, here's the thing, folks, if you didn't see it, the Bengals offense played its best game of the year last night. By far.
Yeah, it's not even close.
That includes the 2 games, the 1.5 games Joe Burrow played.
Yeah.
It was their best I've seen their offense look since the end of last year, and it's not close, as you said. Not close.
Being a Bengals fan, is that Zach Taylor or is that Joe Flacco? Give a percentage there, because it's both.
I'll give some credit to Zach Taylor begrudgingly.
Yeah.
Because I think the game plan was right.
Yeah.
The game plan featured a lot of getting rid of the ball quick.
No sacks,
Protecting
no
offensive
pressure,
line.
beautiful.
He got sacked twice.
He got sacked in a big spot that I thought was going to turn the game.
It could have been, yeah.
If they don't give up that 70-yard touchdown to a tight end,
yes,
the Packers win the game. Because
the Steelers.
If
they had driven down,
because Aaron Rodgers is going to slow walk it. When he scored, I literally said, best thing that could have happened.
And by the way, Bull, beautiful time management at the end of the game, right? They kicked the field goal. They make sure Aaron Rodgers didn't get the ball back, didn't they?
That's true.
Well, I
was nervous about that.
T. Higgins, that's
a smart play by Higgins. But if he misses the field goal, I would have lost my mind. But
their field goal kicker's so good.
He's good, and it's a chip shot, but whatever. But the Bengals offense with Jake Browning looked like if you look at the Bengals offensive numbers before last night, they were kind of as bad as the Browns were.
And that's Zach
Taylor
even with
having that team, even with Jamar Chase.
Sure.
Even with T. Higgins.
What changed?
T. Higgins had done nothing. What changed is Joe Flacco.
And that's it?
That's it. What else changed?
Coach was the same? Well, I'll ask you this question I asked him. If Zach Taylor was coaching the Browns and not Kevin Stefanski, what's the record?
I think it's probably the same.
I do too.
Honestly.
I don't think they make a difference.
But that's not a compliment to Kevin Stefanski.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's more of an indictment of Zach Taylor.
Yes.
I agree with that.
But, yeah, you look at the rest of the Bengals, nothing else changed. What else changed? In fact, 2 of their top 3 tight ends, because they use 3 tight ends, and Fant had a nice game yesterday.
He did.
But their 2 other tight ends were hurt. They didn't even play.
I'd forgotten, too, that Joe and Fant played together in Denver.
Right, yes.
So they do have some sort of chemistry.
And obviously this has nothing to do with the offense, but Trey Hendrickson didn't play last night because he was hurt.
Fact.
So, and yet the Bengals with the same offensive line, the same running back, the same wide receivers.
And they could run the ball yesterday, magically.
Now, I asked G the question, and I think you have the right answer. I think you both had the right answer because I'm a fan of both of them going. At this point,
100%.
I've seen nothing from neither. But if I have to give you on the fireometer, 100 is must go, 0 is he has to stay. Where are you on Stefanski? Where are you on Barry?
I'm 99 on both.
Oh, you're that. I'm 100 on Barry.
Yeah.
I'm 80 on Stefanski.
Okay.
I want to see the rest of the season play out.
Oh yeah, I don't
Fair
want
answer.
I don't see any point of
No,
firing.
but all of
the
this
season.
was predicated on what we've seen so far.
I'm going to give Kevin Stefanski, in my mind, a chance to change my mind.
He's got 11 games.
Coach your way in
Let's
or out.
go.
And in fairness, if Joe took a half to get up to speed, what does it take a rookie quarterback to get up to speed?
Sure.
More than a half, more than 2 games. You know, we saw it a little bit with Jackson Dart. That 4th game, man, there was a massive light that went off. Massive light.
Right.
I'm not suggesting that's going to happen with Dillon Gabriel, but what I am here to tell you is you almost never see that light go off with a team this bad, wide receivers and offensive line, in 2 games. What's that number? We talked about it earlier this week. Is it 4? Is it 6? Is it 8? I don't know, but Jason, I like your answer. We have to see more.
And it needs to start this week, Jason, because the Dolphins are as terrible
But
as
this
the Browns.
much I can say. The hay is in the barn for Andrew Barry. This is the team he gave Kevin Stefanski. He can't improve what he's done in the next 11 weeks.
No,
Kevin
tearing
can't.
it down.
But if
they
Gabriel,
they can't
keep tearing it down.
If Gabriel plays well, that reflects well on Stefanski and Barry, I think.
Well,
if Gabriel plays well.
Yeah, for sure it does. But we talked about what happens if Jackson Dart is a hit. That's a huge ding on Stefanski and Barry.
I totally agree with that.
Huge.
I believe that the decision to get rid, now we know why Mike Tomlin was so pissed that the Browns sent Flacco to Cincinnati. He knows.
That's even insult to injury.
He's beat Pittsburgh more than any other quarterback. He knows. Oh man, I got to go beat this guy now. Not just in the micro on Thursday, but in the macro in the division. Pittsburgh's not a good team, guys.
Isn't it funny? And the Browns don't owe Mike Tomlin the Steelers anything, but I think it's funny that Mike Tomlin kind of knew that Flacco still had a little left in the tank.
He knew,
and the Browns maybe didn't. But I don't know. Go ahead.
I mean, there's
Jason,
so much
to unpack. Right now. Go ahead.
Well, part of the part of the Tomlin thing. I think the bigger part was he was actually sticking up for Kevin. I think it was a big part of it.
Yeah,
that's a conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy.
It's real.
He's sticking up for Kevin.
Yeah, and coaches tend to do that
because Kevin stinks and he wants to keep him in there.
Maybe.
Why not? How did we come to that?
Well,
I'm confused.
Just coaching.
So the coaching fraternity.
I mean,
the brethren.
They work together in Minnesota. So they're closer than people think. Like they're not besties, but I think that there's more
a
relationship there than people realize. And he was sticking up for Kevin.
Yeah, I believe that too.
I don't want to get too far down that path because I don't have all of the information
question
yet.
at hand here,
but
and I know you want to see more, and I do too, and that might change the way we feel.
I mean, last night,
as we sit here today on the 17th,
last night was embarrassing for Cleveland. Like I was sitting I saw the second half. I didn't see the first half. I saw the third and fourth quarters, and of course, to thank you Cleveland afterwards. I'm like, this is a terrible look again.
I threw up when I heard that.
This is terrible.
I threw up. It makes me sick.
And I think on Friday's show, I think I said Joe's going to have a game where he throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, it happened to be on national TV when it's the only game on and the entire country's watching it.
Right. Yeah.
Again, horrible timing for the Browns. But I'm not totally shocked that he had one of those. I'm
not either.
Doesn't mean he's going to play like that every week, but I'm not totally shocked that he had a game like that. And it was funny because
he likes the lights.
It's when you were talking, as you guys were sitting here talking, I actually was thinking about JB Bickerstaff. And the playoff series against the Knicks when everybody was screaming JB's horrible, and I'm like, guys, he's got Isaac Okoro and Lamar.
Danny Green.
Yeah,
And Lamar Stevens.
Lamar. That was the name I was trying to think of. He's got Isaac Okoro and Lamar Stevens on the court. What do you think what do you want him to do?
Yeah.
And I'm advocating for him to play Danny Green, who's dragging one leg up and down the floor because maybe Danny can make a shot. And then JB, everyone thinks JB sucks. JB goes to Detroit. Turns out he's not a bad coach.
No.
And Kevin is still the same coach that 2 years ago, everybody think he sucked 2 years ago when Flacco threw for 2,000 yards when he had a receiver and a tight end who could catch the ball?
No.
So I'll go
he was
back.
Coach of the year.
And again, I'm not trying to defend Kevin. I've said all year long, you want to fire him, I'm not going to fight you. Like, there's enough evidence there. You want to fire him, fire him. I just think it runs so much deeper throughout this organization. Firing the head coach is putting a Band-Aid on a head.
That's not going to fix it.
It ain't going to fix anything.
No,
but you want to fire him, fire
But
him.
not firing him is not going to fix it either.
But here's the
No,
thing.
it's not. But Bull, to Jay's point, like, we're rotting higher than Kevin Stefanski.
Kevin has proven if you give him talent, he can win. He's proven that. Look at 2023. He's proven it. Tell me I'm wrong.
But Jason,
There's no talent on this offense. None.
But they had more talent when they won in certainly in 2020 when they got to the playoffs. Yes, they got on a run. Joe Flacco got hot. He can't live the rest of his career off a good 6-week stretch.
I totally agree.
When they went to the playoffs in 2020, there was talent on this team. Let's not make it seem they didn't have talent on this team.
You're making my point. There was talent on the team and he won.
Okay, but since then he hasn't won a single playoff game.
And there hasn't been any talent.
I always go back.
It's gotten worse as the years have gone by.
But
isn't he part of the
Which is
He
why
is the triumphant.
So if you want to fire him, fire him. I'm just not expecting. I don't think you're going to bring in head coach next year and win 10 games.
I don't think anybody's expecting that either.
But here's the problem I do have. If he is the wrong person for the job and this regime is the wrong regime, we are already talking about our draft class next year with 2 first-round picks.
Yep.
It is pivotal. We don't have linemen, we don't have receivers, and we're talking about a quarterback. So if they pick the wrong person,
I totally agree.
It sets you.
Yes.
Let me just
You're right.
tell y'all.
And who here has faith they'll get the right person?
If you pick the wrong person, we talk about Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield. We have to learn from our mistakes. If you have a person that is incompetent at the top and he takes another highly drafted person or whoever that may be and they swing and miss, you've set yourself back 4 more years. 4 more. Just because we didn't want to pull the trigger this year.
I told you Monday, you're still not dug out. It's the Deshaun thing. Deshaun is bad, period. It's Deshaun. And the fact that they still, they owe him so much more money on the cap sheet.
How do you get out of that?
This will wreck the franchise.
Again, the Broncos turned it around because they got something right.
If the Browns find a quarterback, it'll go a long way in solving a lot of these problems.
You're right.
Yep.
I have no faith that that's going to happen.
See, and I don't either. And I know your guys' heads are going to explode. You know where I'm going already with this. But it goes higher than these two. It does.
I'm glad. No, before you go,
okay.
I want to. Because you said Monday, why are you defending him? I wasn't defending Depot on Monday. You were making it sound like DePodesta is the reason the Browns are in this mess. And I was just trying to say, hey, the Browns had crappy ownership before Paul got here.
Right.
They had Lombardi and Banner when Jimmy first got here. It wasn't that they got bad when DePodesta showed up. This ownership group has never gotten it right. And that was the point.
Jay, and I agree with that. And I'm glad you made that distinction because I'll make a distinction on top of that. When we've changed regimes under this ownership group with head coaches and general managers, it's the chief strategy officer, I think, that has the most influence with Jimmy Haslam. That's my personal opinion from little things I've heard from around the league, from people that know the league and covered it for a very long time. I've been told that Jimmy's ear belongs to Paul. Would you refute that? Is it Andrew's voice that's the loudest?
I've never been able to untangle all of this.
I know, and that's a big part of the problem.
Because, you could say he listens to Paul, but does he? Because he hired Dorsey, who's a completely non-analytics guy, who's kicking analytics guys out of meetings.
But who won that power struggle? Not Dorsey.
Well, because Dorsey picked the wrong coach. But I'm just saying, up until this regime, none of their pieces fit together. None of them. They would have a head coach who was analytics and a front office who wasn't, or vice, whatever.
Yeah.
They never had everybody in agreement.
And now we're on the same page, but Bull makes this point all the time. you can all be on the same page, and you can all be on the wrong page.
Sure.
And that's what I think. That's where I think we are. I think that we do have a lockstep regime right now. But the problem is they're all marching off the same cliff. I want a regime that sees everything the same way, but sees it the way the Rams or the Niners
There's
see
too
it.
much groupthink.
That's the problem that I have when we say, I'm okay as long as the Browns feel that they are doing the right thing.
No, don't ever say that.
I'm like, I don't care what they think. I'm looking at the results. The results is saying you don't know what you're doing. The results in this quarterback thing, listen, these guys, I've been through 1-31. The way they've handled this quarterback situation from day one, starting back at the draft, is the most ridiculous. You're better off putting these draft cats on autopilot. You might as well let the computer select them, because they would have done a better job of this.
Yeah.
You talked about the quarterback competition. Turned out to not be true. You wasted reps on Pickett. Then you had Flacco. Now you're going to Dillon Gabriel. Then you trade Joe Flacco in the middle of the week. He comes out in 10 days for a division rival, throws for 300-400 yards, and no practice, no nothing. And you got guys like Grant Delpit sitting around saying, that's another thing we missing.
Yeah, that.
It was another, because the people in that locker room, Bull, are telling you think they ain't watching the Bengals over
Grant
there?
Delpit bite. Did you guys discuss that yesterday?
No, it
I
happened
think it
after,
happened
but we're going to play it in the TV show when
good.
we talk about
Good.
could the whole thing crumble.
Yeah,
if things don't
because,
turn
gee,
around.
that's a point we haven't hit on, and you're absolutely
He
right.
said, I don't even
That's a
remember
crack.
what it feels like
It
to
goes
win.
back to the process with the 76ers I brought up on
You
Wednesday.
know,
100%. You're teaching the young kids to one thing: how to lose.
You know, we do a debate show. We do an opinion show. We have to. It's real. If you think about it rationally, deciding if Kevin Stefanski as a head coach is a 10 or a 1 or wherever in between is an impossible task. There's nothing really to give you a definitive answer on where he is, right?
Right.
I've said many times that I think most coaches are in the middle. I think Stefanski's one of those coaches. I think most of the coaches in the league are in the middle, and depending on their talent or depending on
I agree
whatever,
with you, Bull.
they go up and down, right? So
Where they make a difference is at the very top.
yes, and
The
I
very
don't think
top.
Kevin Stefanski's one of those guys. I don't.
No.
For the record, I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think he's one of the I think there's 3 or 4 buffoons every year who have no business coaching.
Yeah.
I think there's 3, 4, 5 really good coaches, and everybody else is dependent on other things. But here's why, and I think Stefanski overall early in his tenure did a solid job for the Browns. Did a pretty good job. I think what's happened now is they've lost so much. There's been if nothing else, the organization is accepted losing. Even if the players haven't, the organization
Facts.
has.
Yeah.
And that
Completely.
is rubbed off on the team. And I just don't think at this point Kevin Stefanski can be the guy to turn it around.
I agree with you.
I just think he
agree with you.
can't. And I think they need a coach, a different coach. They need a different voice
I agree
now.
with that. I think more than anything, they need different players. Let me wrap up this point with this question, because we had this debate many times over my years at ESPN, and I always used to try to bookend it with this question. In general, in the history of your sports fandom, how many teams can you name won championships with a lack of talent but a great head coach?
I mean, Greg Popovich said all the time, I've never seen a jockey carry a horse over the finish line.
That's 100% true.
What's funny about this is when the players play well, and I've done this too. When I was covering the Cavs and LeBron played well, the players get the credit.
Yeah.
When they don't play well, the coach takes the blame.
Always.
It's just the way that it's always.
It's human nature.
But you can see a coach.
Why? Because it's easier to change one coach than it is 53 players.
But a coach can make a bad team serviceable, a serviceable team pretty good,
and
a pretty good team good.
great.
You know,
that's why I agree with you, Bull. I think they make differences in AFC and NFC championship games, in Super Bowls.
The reason I have defended Kevin all of these years, and I've said this before, he's really good at managing the nonsense and the obstacles that come with being the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
He's done it better than a lot of the
Especially
guys that came
COVID.
before him. Especially, he thrived in COVID because there was nobody else to distract him. And it may have reached the point where the snow is just too high and his shovel isn't big enough, and it's even.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Because he has proven, excuse me, when he has talent, he can win.
Yeah.
It's not his fault Jerry Jeudy's dropping the ball. That's not Kevin's fault. I gave you all the numbers. I got one more. I gave you all the numbers on Monday about how bad these receivers are. Jay, I'm with you in terms of the indictment on the receivers. I asked my data guy, I'm like, okay, so I assume the Bengals are near the top then in separation and speed. He actually said, no, they're at the bottom with the Browns. Here's the difference. I just had it and I lost it. Here,
catching the football.
Cincinnati receivers have caught 37% of tight window throws, 11th in the NFL. The Browns have caught less than 10% of tight window throws.
Oh, my God.
2 of 21.
That's dead last, right?
Dead last. Raiders are the only other receiver group under 20%. The Raiders are at 19%. The Browns are at 10%. So, a lot of data.
That Chase in particular
Jay, that's a
does not need to
fascinating
be
number,
open.
though.
That's the thing.
Chase
He
doesn't
doesn't
need
need to be open. He'll catch it. Just throw it to him. Just
throw it.
He threw it to him
The
16
Browns
times.
don't have a
The
player
Browns
like that,
don't have.
obviously.
So, to recap,
Most teams don't have a player like
the
that.
Browns
but-
receivers are among the slowest in the league, the worst at creating separation. They've dropped 17, the league high 17 passes, and they're last in tight window catches. So they aren't creating separation, and they aren't catching contested balls. So again, I ask,
there's nothing- what are you supposed to do?
offense is going to work?
I will always say this, and we have the nickname of the guy, the captain of Project Stockpile. McNuggets, you can attest to this. Since I've known you as a human being, the first thing I've always said is, I need 3 receivers. I don't care if we drafted one. I don't care if you drafted. I need multiple, 2, 3 of them. I've always said this.
Yeah.
So my energy level today is just the simple fact that I'm sitting here being like, guys, people have been saying this for years, and they've neglected it for years, and now the chickens have come home to roost.
Yeah, you're right, and we've all said that. We said the receivers are woeful and not up to par, but again, to our original question today, is the lack of talent at wide receiver Kevin Stefanski's fault or Andrew Berry's fault? Andrew buys the groceries.
Hey, listen.
It's on him.
They keep trying to tell me they got a united front. I got to believe you.
I think Kevin Stefanski is part of the blame for that. In terms of specifically, on that one specific thing, yes, I'm going to blame Andrew Berry more than Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, that's his job.
But in the end, all this argument about who's to blame more, I think there's plenty of blame to go around.
All of them.
And it's fair to say that the talent's not good enough, the coaching's not good enough,
Both.
and even though I agree with Jason that they're unlikely to find the next great coach.
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely. And they'll probably, if they're lucky, just get another mid-tier coach and hope the talent's better and they hope for that. But yeah, this team's not, unless they somehow get a great quarterback, they're not going to win a lot of games next year, no matter who the coach is. However, if they did have a Mike Tomlin or Andy Reid or something like that, they wouldn't be quite as bad. I believe.
They would coach them
They
up.
wouldn't be a playoff
They're
team.
trying to rent Tomlin out of
Pittsburgh. They're trying to fire
stupid.
Tomlin.
But exactly. We'll take them. That doesn't get us to where we want to go.
No, that's right.
Ultimately, you said this, we all agree with this. Okay, we've got the wrong people. I think we all agree on that. But the biggest problem is, do we trust the ringleader of this circus to suddenly hire the people that will be the right people? No. But this is my last point on this topic. The one person who I can point to who is Kevin's boss and Andrew's boss, because he decides the strategy of this entire franchise, is Paul DePodesta.
Right, but we all agree he should be fired too.
So what I'm saying is, you can fire Stefanski and Berry all you want. If Podesta picks the replacements, good luck with that.
Right, but in the fire them all, fine.
Get them all out.
But I don't trust Jimmy to get it right.
I don't
I think
either.
if Jimmy gets it right, we just got lucky. We got lucky.
Or he finally gets, and he won't because ego is too big. Look at Jerry Jones. Or he finally realizes, oh my God, I just watched on national television one of our rivals chant, "Thank you, Cleveland." If that isn't a punch to the ego, then there isn't one. He had to watch that garbage on national television. We are a joke. We have been a joke throughout his ownership. The only thing we can hope for is that he or D, and I think D could have more influence here because sometimes women can be more level-headed on the ego issues than men. Maybe
most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So maybe it will be the woman in his life that looks at Jimmy and says, Jimmy, I know you mean well. I know you want to win. I don't question that, by the way. Jimmy does want to win, and he does mean well. He doesn't have the means to carry it out as the point person. Maybe D is the one that actually tells him, honey, you're not good at this. And my name is also attached to your name, and it's embarrassing for me to see my rival on national television do a thank you Cleveland chant. Has it ever gotten any worse?
No.
So maybe she can say, Jimmy, you've got 4 months. Do an all-out search, canvass the NFL universe, find whomever you need to find, and then give him the keys and write the checks.
That's the only way it's going to
That's our only way out of this, because he's not selling the team.
No.